Ladies' room, first one for the week. Good morning, everybody. Let me just give you guys some time to come on into the room. Yeah, no, I had to literally run out the door. So if I'm a little out of breath, excuse me. Let me catch my bearings and we'll be good to go. Alrighty, so let me share. I don't think I have as yet. All right, let me see who's coming in. Yeah, no, we don't usually start so abruptly, but you'll have to excuse me today. All right, I think we got it now. Good. Alrighty. Good morning, Christelle. Good morning, Marianne. Good morning, Andrea. As soon as you guys come on in, just hit the share button today. We're not gonna stick because you know how it is with time, and before you know it, we're all out of it, and sometimes we haven't even touched quarter of what we intend to. So we're not gonna stick this morning. We have Mr. Arley Gill with us in the studio. Definitely no stranger to Power 95. And we have a lot of catching up to do. So let's get right into it. How are you today, though? Good morning. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Pleasant morning. Happy New Year's to you and all of your listeners and to the Power FM family.
And I think congratulations are in order. It's amazing how things happen because the last time we spoke, remember when we had the Spice Mass anniversary and the series of programs that
Yes.
week? And, we were speaking, and of course, you've been there before, but we were speaking on what's happening now and looking ahead. And here you are, not just looking ahead, but here you are in the official capacity of the chairman of the Spice Mass Corporation. So, what brought that along? I thought you were over and moving along merrily, merrily down the stream.
Well, I am a retiree from public life also, but the Minister of Culture called me and invited me to accept the position of chairman of SMC. And after much deliberation and
Just swing the
consultations,
mic a little closer to your mouth.
yes, I said after the minister invited me to accept the chairmanship of the SMC. I myself was not even thinking about that, and I told her she had to hold on, let me think about it. And after much thought and consultations with persons close to me, I accepted the responsibility. So when person say to me, "Congratulations," I say, "Oh, you congratulate a man for work." You know, it's
Because
not
we
even
know
a
you're good where
position
you
that I
at.
even applied for or even expected. But I believe, when one is offered opportunity to serve nationally, it's something that one must take seriously. And I believe that I can make a difference and make a contribution. So, it's just a call to national duty, basically. And I hope I can um, make a contribution with regards to the further development of the Spice Mass product.
Great. So we'll speak about that this morning because I know that's what everybody came over here to hear about. And of course, we've got independence coming up as well. So we want to talk a little bit about both. But you just came from the viewing of the body of Sir Carlyle Glean. Not sure if you want to touch a little on that and, of course, your experience with him.
Well, I think it's an excellent opportunity to touch on that and to, first of all, extend condolences to his family, immediate to Lady Norma and to the kids and to the grandkids and the entire family, and to the Gore family and the St. John's family of the passing of Sakalai. But Sakalai has made a tremendous contribution to national development. If you study his history, you'll see that he taught from primary school to secondary school to university, and not just in Grenada, but throughout the region. He was the first lecturer of social studies in the University of the West Indies, UWI, Kville, and also worked with CXC for a while with regards to the CXC syllabus and so on. He was a former Minister of Education, leader of government business in the Senate, and of course, Governor General. So he has lived a full life of public service, really. And I think that, you know, persons like Sakalai, all generations of Grenada must know about the contribution of this man. Sakalai is a humble man. He's not one that would sing his own praises, but he went about his life work in a very humble and dignified manner. And I am of the respectful view that when all is said and done, when we consider all of the great persons who have contributed to the development of Grenada, the name Sir Carlyle will be there. And further, in 2 years' time or so, we will be celebrating a 50th independence anniversary of Grenada. And as chairman of the National Reparations Committee, I had recommended to Cabinet that we consider renaming at least 50 monumental sites in Grenada, whether it's be roads, schools, medical centers, and so on. And I believe it will be fitting to honor persons like Sakalai in that way. We our kids, our children know everything there is to know about Christopher Columbus and Sir Francis Drake and so on, but they do not know anything about persons like Sir Carlyle, who has made a tremendous contribution to national development. So as we say farewell to Sir Carlyle, if you know this tomorrow, um, we want to place on record our heartfelt thank you to his life work and to his contribution to national development.
Fantastic. And seeing that we're also celebrating our anniversary, our independence anniversary shortly as well. And it falls in nicely with you mentioning, paying tribute to Sir Carlyle Glean. I hope there are two other names we have in the basket, that of Mr. Peter Bain and, of course, Mrs. Joan Vento, who passed away not so long ago. And namely Peter Bain, who made an indelible mark in culture and, the arts and all of that, his love for culture and mass and all of that. I hope I'll see his name somewhere there, alongside those names of places that because to be honest, we were having this conversation last week, and there are so many names of streets and places, and who are these
Yeah,
people? We
has
don't
no
know
relevance
none
to
of them.
us and to our society, but more than that, quite a few of these names and persons took part actively in the enslavement of our ancestors
Mhm,
and the colonization of our country. And we continue to celebrate them, not knowing anything about them. Of course, um, when we speak of renaming monumental sites, we're not just speaking about governor generals and prime ministers and so on. It, right across the spectrum, talking about teachers, police officers,
mhm,
farmers, fisher folk, someone like Peter Blaine, who has given so much
mhm,
his life to culture and the development of the entertainment industry. There are so many anecdotes myself, and Peter was a worthy ally for me when I was minister responsibility for culture. We had long discussions on what we needed to do and so on, and what we can do and what we need to do. One of the things that stands out for me with Peter's contribution is bringing his mass band to Carrico. We
mhm,
collaborated on that effort, and so Peter played a tremendous role in the advancement of kayak mass.
mhm,
Persons may not know that, not just in St. Andrews, not just in Grenada, but Peter always saw an opportunity to how we can advance the culture. And I agree with you. Um, when the dust is settled, persons like Peter Bain name will be among Joan Ventor, stalwart Grenville and St. Andrew citizen. And so we all know that none of us will live forever, So when persons do pass, it is sad. But of course, we must celebrate the contributions that they have made. This is just life is just a journey.
mhm.
It comes at an end at one point in time. But let's celebrate the work that
Done.
our colleague nationals have done.
I am seriously looking forward to that, to hearing, Peter Bain Street, um, and of course, Mrs. Joan Bento. They've made such, and not just, and of course, Peter is not just entertainment, but also sports, cricket
Yes,
and all of that,
football and
all
so.
rounder. He was just
The
a
community
remarkable
man.
human being.
Hmm.
Of course, we're moving ahead. We're going to get to the carnival part of things, but of course, we have our independence coming up on February 7th. Can you speak to us a little on what this year will look like?
Well, I'm not in any way affiliated with the National Celebrations
Celebrations, right?
Committee.
Hmm.
But I'm seeing little decoration thus far, so I hope that effort can be intensified. I don't think that the COVID spike in any way could hamper the beautification of the country, basically. I think that's an effort that needs to be continued. We're getting old as a nation. We'll be 48 years in a few weeks' time. So I believe that the radio station, television station, newspapers, social media, and so on are doing their part in terms of commemorating our 40th year of independence.
Hmm.
And I know it is challenging times. It's difficult times with regards to the COVID. We cannot do all the things that we want to do. But I believe that enough time, it's over 2 years now. We have witnessed what other countries have done for the independence celebrations and so. And some things are possible with regards to all of the virtual events and so on. With the vaccination program well in swing, and every opportunity we get, we want to encourage persons to get vaccinated. I believe that this year's independence celebrations um can be much better and bigger than last year's, so I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to the Calypso competition as part of that as well. Now, the meat of the matter, Spice Mass. That's your forte. You're now the chairman, appointed SMC chairman as of last November. And back then, you promised to give serious attention to having a 2022 carnival. And I think that's what everybody's been talking about. Um, about two, was it 1 or 2 Saturdays ago, you had also had a consultation with other like-minded folks, bringing ideas, bringing up ideas together to see how we can get this, because it's been 2 years, and I mean, I think it's been long enough to say, you know what, no carnival, and just be okay, because some seem to think that carnival is just women in some feathers or some little bikinis and gyrating on the streets, and okay, we don't miss it because this indecent behavior, and it is way more than that. As a matter of fact, I saw a conversation where Faye and Bungie were part of a conversation where somebody said, basically said they're happy there's no carnival because all it did was promote crime and violence and nudity, and and it was an ongoing conversation for days. The thread keep on going and going, them telling that person, well, if that's how you see, then we have a lot of work to do, because carnival is so much more, what it does for artists, what it does for the economy, what it does for generally. So to think that's all it is after how many years, we're definitely not in a good place. That's what Fayon was saying to the person. Now it's been 2 years, we've been on ice, we've been watching virtual, we've been sitting at home, and it's not the same for people who genuinely love carnival. It's been the longest, most torturous 2 years ever, and I don't think we can do a third year. So where are we now? Like I said, from speaking a bit from the consultation that you had, talk to us about that. On the preparation for possibly holding a carnival. Speak to us on that.
And as you rightly said, from that contribution or conversation with Bungie and Fian and so on, we have to appreciate, number one, that Carnival is our biggest tourism product. People must appreciate that. The economic significance of Carnival must never be underestimated. And there are persons in the creative industry that depends or relies on Carnival in a significant way for their livelihood. Secondly, it is the cultural expression of our people through song, dance, mass, pan, you name it. So, what we refer to as the carnival arts, with all of the traditional mass, fancy mass, creativity of our people, and so on, that's important. For us, keeping the Spice Mass brand, maintaining the Spice Mass brand, promoting the Spice Mass brand is extremely important as well. So, 2 Saturdays ago, we had a retreat where we invited the chair from the St. Kitts Nevis Carnival Committee, and she shared with us what they did for Carnival. St. Kitts had Carnival in December a couple weeks ago. and they also had Carnival in 2020. So we learned what it is that St. Kitts did, their strengths and their weaknesses. We also had Elon Robinson presenting to us an overview of Caribbean carnivals and then sharing with us some of the areas we need to address in terms of spectator experience and so on. Two excellent presentations. And of course, we broke out into groups, different areas of marketing, of production, and so on to get new ideas and new initiatives. So it was an excellent session. Now, Spice Mass, of course, we are not the persons that will make the final decision with regards to whether or not we have carnival in 2022. That decision is left solely to be made by the Prime Minister and the Cabinet of the country.
Okay.
What we do, though, is that if the Prime Minister and the Cabinet say, yeah, we will be prepared. So we have activated
Prepared in what sense?
our planning process. Prepared in terms of planning,
Mhm.
um, in short order.
Virtually or
No, in short order, presenting the Cabinet what we believe is possible, having regards to the COVID situation.
Mhm.
Um, we can do, I believe, a little more than virtual this year, actually. Um, we in the SMC will be embarking on shortly a vaccination campaign because we believe that more persons being vaccinated strengthens our argument. And of
Mhm.
course, vaccination does not prevent persons from contracting the COVID, but it, of course, gives them a better chance to avoid hospitalization and death. So, in a real sense, we have to learn to live with the COVID
What was this?
situation.
This was this St. Kitts you said? What was the St. Kitts situation? How did it? How did they go about doing it? How did it work
Right.
for them? Mhm.
First of all, we need to know that St. Kitts, 80% of the persons are
Oh
vaccinated.
wow!
So they have a high vaccination rate.
What is their the
Population of
populations?
35,000.
Okay.
And the thing about it, even if our population is greater, but the vaccines are available,
Mhm.
it's for us to get up and get. St. Kitts was able to do a hybrid of virtual events and in-person events.
Mhm.
But of course, the in-person events um, was was accessible by persons who were vaccinated.
Vaccinated. Okay.
And you're talking about the competitors, the production people, the sound system people, the vendors, the security guards. So if we're talking Spice Mass, one can only imagine that not only the spectators that the demand would be for vaccination, but also the competitors, the artists, the steel pan people, the mass players, the vendors. You want to be in the venue, you'll have to be vaccinated. I think that will be a ground rule, basically. Um,
Say for
so that
instance, if we're talking,
it reduced the vaccination reduced the risks of contracting the virus, and it reduced the risk of persons who contract the virus from being hospitalized or losing their lives.
so for instance, if we're having an in-person Sokomona, you're vaccinated,
We want, yes,
you can enter.
we want to believe so. We believe that's our best chance of persons entering the venue to be vaccinated.
M-
There's also the, vaccinated persons can also carry the virus.
mhm.
So the issue of rapid testing is firmly on the table as well before you enter the venue. We need to look at the cost implications of that. Who will foot the bill for the rapid test? Because those things do not come freely, of course. There is a cost element of all of that. And we are, as I said, in the process of discussions with all of the stakeholders, health, security, and so on, to come up with the best possible menu or formula to have Spice Mass 2022. So, as I said, the final call, of course, have to be made by Prime Minister and Cabinet. but we want to give them the best possible scenarios of how we can deliver spice masks. And I want to believe in the next couple of weeks or so, not too long from now. So for the persons who are holding their breath, do not,
Before we
they
pass out, you want
yeah, wouldn't be last minute. But I can say to you that we are working extremely hard. And as soon as I finish here, meetings and consultations and drafting up plans, we are researching. We have researched what has gone on in Miami. We
I
have
was about to
researched.
ask on the
Um,
Miami experience.
yes,
What's your take from that?
and I still believe this kids experience is a
Better
take
example.
on the Miami,
Mhm,
but the Miami shows some possibilities.
mhm.
So we have researched that possibility in terms of what attained at Miami. Miami was a very good rollout. And every mass event that goes on worldwide, we look at it. For instance, you can see people returning to the stadium around Europe for football.
Mhm.
Same too in the US. But at the root of it and at the base of it is vaccination and people protecting themselves and so on and so forth. So we believe that that is a critical element of really producing and delivering spice mass. So there are some low hanging fruits, or what I say, real feasible um, things that we can do with regards to creating a bubble like environment for the events and so on in secured venues. Of course, the real challenge, and I have to tell you, the real challenge is Juve. Yes,
Someone just
because
made that point.
mm,
Brian Sylvester just made that point. He says we are no way as disciplined as the population of St. Kitts to implement such. With an in-person event at the stadium, Greenbridge will be full of masqueraders, mainly non-vaccinated persons.
and tell Brian to give me a call. I need to have a conversation with him.
Brian, you got the message there. All right. So
But yeah, and Brian is absolutely right. St. Kitts, they really had no Juve, but there's no island that have Juve as Grenada. That's a problem.
mhm,
The Kittians really stay out of the street for Juve. Our
no
experience in
Juve
Grenada
experience is
for the
different.
past 2 years, the government says no Juve, no
And you
carnival.
had both
And
Juve.
in 2020, we had spontaneous Juves all across the country, different villages. In 2021, we saw an increase of that. So really and truly, um, we in a rock and a hard place. You don't tell Grenadians not to play Juve. They might just play Juve just to show you that they could play Juve. So that to my mind is a real challenge. We have some proposals with regards to that as well. I don't think it would be proper to say it now before I speak to cabinet on it. But we are working um, with the health authorities and the Royal Grenada Police Force to come up with best scenarios of how we can do it. But that um, is our biggest headache in the sense that how can we do that and do it as safely as possible? Or can we, it's kind of a fait accompli in terms of to say no carnival, no juve. For the past 2 years, we didn't even have the holidays, really, and it happened. So that is our real challenge. Our real challenge is the juve in particular. Even the mass band parade taking some sort of format is not as difficult as the juve. So that is our real challenge. And that is because once you say carnival, you really can't say no juve in Grenada. Because already you say no carnival in having Juve. So imagine if you say carnival,
Well,
you can't say no
you can't
Juve.
say no Juve.
So how do we
It's like
minimize the risk?
opening a can of
How do we
worms.
minimize the risk? How do we seek to do that? And we are brainstorming. We are coming up with solutions. And but as I said, we have a workable position. We believe we have a workable position, but it's not at this time for us to say so publicly. We're still in the process of consultations with the stakeholders, and that will be completed this week for sure.
I'm getting a lot of it's a pity that all these folks weren't present at the consultation that you had 2 Saturdays ago, the retreat. Sorry, that you had 2 Saturdays ago. Someone here is saying, what about the option of a recent negative PCR rapid test as opposed to only vaccination? Is that something you can present to cabinet as well? Is that part of the plan, or is it only vaccination?
No,
Um,
as I said earlier, the issue of rapid test, the antigen test is firmly on the table as well. So we're looking at that. The PCR test takes a little longer for the results to come through. I think like a few hours at least. The rapid test, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So we are working with. We have a medical consultant actually, who will guide us on those issues properly. So what we have done is to solicit the support from different experts in different areas. I am not a medical expert. I mean, COVID has been long enough for all of us to know the do's and don'ts. But of course, we will be relying on a medical expert as to what can be possible. So yes, that is on the table.
were there any from the St. Kitts experience? What was your biggest takeaway from it, from the presenter, in terms of the Shannon Harley was her name?
Yes, Shannon
Yeah,
Halley.
from the your biggest takeaway from it as to how this could be feasible if we really, put the different measures in
One of the
place.
biggest lessons I think we can learn from the Kittitian experience is that everybody must be on the same board. Government, Ministry of Health, police, and the SMC. Everybody, the messaging must be the same. So SMC must be saying the same thing the Ministry of Health is saying. So we need to get buy-in from all the different important organizations. That's important. I mean, of course, they shared with us the practical examples with regards to the vaccination and so on. The other issue um, is that you're saying to to the people, to patrons, you come into Spice Mass events, you have to be vaccinated or at least tested. What will be the protocol for private promoters or private vets?
Mhm.
What will be the protocol for persons entering bars and restaurants? So the harmonization of policies, you know, is an extremely important area as well. We want to be in sync with not just the Spice Mass event, but also too the promoters and so on that really makes Carnival um, uh, 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 give us the fullness of the Carnival experience. And one of the things is that for the private promoters and so one can say that they may have to scale back on their production. They may not be able to get the massive crowds as you got pre-COVID. So that even if you're doing events, one will have to look at the financial outlay or financial investment for the private promoters and so on to do the events and so on. But harmonization of the policies with regards to Spice Mass events and private promoter events is extremely important. And that consultation will continue.
And I think that was the biggest problem last year. Everything seemed to be like all over the place. There
No, we
was one
can't.
set of rules for this set and then another set. So then you had this conflict and confusion, and everybody was like, you know what? Let me just go out and play a
It
mass.
creates confusion when we say different things to different people. So, as much as it's possible, the SMC will want to ensure that there is harmonization across the board. We want a level playing field as much as is possible. This is a policy for us, this is a policy for you. And at the same time, too, private promoters and so on, they must appreciate and take responsibility to implement those policies and so on. We can't be saying to the government, listen, that we want Spice Mass, that we want Carnival, and be reckless about it. No, we can't be reckless about it. We have to be responsible. You know, a greater sense of responsibility falls on us now if we seriously want to deliver on Spice Mass. So that all of the different stakeholders must know that. Pan players know that if you're not vaccinated, go and get vaccinated. You want to wear a costume? Just in case we are Carnival, go and get vaccinated now. I mean, you give us a stronger uh,
Strong argument.
argument as to why we have it. I mean, that's what it is.
Because, at the end of the day, it's like we can't continue to bury our heads in the sand and pretend that this isn't the way it will
I,
be. I know a lot of folks are we are creatures of habit and we love resisting change. And for some reason, there are still folks who are holding out, thinking if I hold out longer, there will come a point where I don't have to take it at all, and we will go back to how we were with me not getting vaccinated. And there are folks who hate the vaccination conversation, but if we're being honest and we're being realistic, we have to have the vaccination conversation and understand that
of
hey,
course.
this isn't only unique to Grenada, because some folks they talk like, well, only Grenada is talking vaccination.
No,
We are the only ones pushing
not
vaccination.
at
We are the
all.
ones saying you must be vaccinated for anything to happen. It is happening all across the
Listen,
world.
in fact,
So,
Grenada is probably one of the most liberal vaccination policies. The Prime Minister has gone on record publicly to say to the nation that he is not a believer in mandatory vaccination. But you read the news, you look at the news, you read social all over the world. There's mandatory vaccination for different workers working in different sectors, different institutions, mandatory vaccination, not just in the US, in the Caribbean as well, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and so on. There are mandatory vaccination all over the world. Look at the last Sabbath with November. You will come to Australia, you need to be vaccinated. Or you are part of the but November was deported. So just it's not about Grenada. Grenada is not unique position. This is a global um war that we're facing against an unseen enemy. Nobody. So it's not we can't just, as you said, bury our heads in the sand and just think it's Grenada alone. No, So we are ready if the Prime Minister and Cabinet in their wisdom say to us we can have Spice Mass 2022.
because the thing is, we're not going to be in the pandemic forever. That is
No,
understood. And, even though it lasts another 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we're still not going to be in it forever. But we still have to develop, this Soul Spice mass product. And this is one of
that's
the
it. So
things
so
we've
it's
been.
important into the brand. Late last year, many Grenadians called. My phone was off the hook. People calling. Yeah, Trinidad having a festival of
Oh,
feds in August, and of course they felt threatened. They felt threatened that Trinidad would have a significant cultural event in August. I was not too perturbed, to be honest, because I have confidence in the Grenada brand. But that is what, if we no longer say no to Carnival in August, we are giving opportunities for others to occupy that space. And strategically, we are the last summer carnival in the Caribbean, right? We're the last summer carnival in the Caribbean before people jet back up to London and the US and so on. And I am of the considered view that we need to maintain that space. So, as old people would say, you have to pee on your post, basically, So we have to protect,
market territory.
yes, macro territory, basically. So it is important for the Spice Mass brand as well for us to do something. And part of the theme of our retreat a couple Saturdays ago was the theme was Carnival in the pandemic and beyond. Because as you rightfully pointed out, we wouldn't be in the pandemic forever. And as such, we have to begin strategizing of what do we do when we get out of the pandemic? How do we step out of the pandemic scenario and so on? So yeah, we have to even now begin thinking um what carnival will look like post pandemic. We cannot just plan for carnival in the pandemic. We are in the pandemic now, so we must see how best we can do it now. But that must not just occupy our thoughts. We have to engage ourselves as well as to how we can go forward post pandemic.
One of the things you've always spoken highly about and felt very strongly about is that of the viability and sustainability of our carnival product. And knowing that we've always had this complaint of being in the red, every year we don't see the profits and what have you. Now in this pandemic, throwing a lot of spokes in our wheel. And cutting back in a lot of areas, how do you propose we get beyond that?
Not in the pandemic. And we would say to government and cabinet straight that in
We
2022,
need money.
we need money. Carnival has always been underfunded, basically, and that's part of the problem. Um, St. Kitts Carnival budget from central government was $2.1 million.
What?
Yeah, a population of 35,000. Yeah, so that's what we're talking. So that government need to appreciate that we need to make a more significant
Contribution.
investment. It's an investment in carnival and the carnival arts. But if we were to have carnival in 2022, we have to appreciate as well that this year may not be the year when SMC is looking to come out of the red, so to speak.
Mhm.
It will more be our focus would be on the preservation and promotion of the Spice Mass brand more than making monies. I believe in our engagement with the stakeholders 2 Saturdays ago. One, Spice Mass need to look for new revenue generation, right? So a lot of the things, if we were to do virtual events, I say to you now, it will be pay per view. Yeah. So it's not a case where you just log in for free. We cannot be giving content freely. It's not going to happen under my watch with SMC. So we are looking for new revenue generation. We also need greater and better partnerships with the business community. Need more
Mhm.
significant sponsors, and of course, we believe that greater investment need to be made in Carnival from central government. At the same time, the SMC needs to give the nation value for its dollar. In other words, we can't just say we want more money for Carnival and put on Tata,
Mhm.
right? When persons look at Spice Mars, they see a world class
See a
event. So we
production.
have to world class production, world class performances, and so on. Artists coming on time, artists dress a certain way, the stage design, the light, everything
Quality
quality.
audio,
Yeah,
video,
if we're
visuals.
asking persons to invest more, we have to do more. We have to give more of ourselves. Yeah,
Can be
so
mediocre and substandard.
exactly. If we say to people that pay per view, you can buy it online, we need to have the best internet facility that Grenada has to offer. Pushing that platform, you see.
Mhm.
So those are the kind of standards we need to set for ourselves, really. And if we can get that done, I believe that you know this Spice Mass product, as far as I'm concerned, we can be the leader of Caribbean carnivals. We have some unique features. One of our greatest assets is the safety and security of Grenada that some other countries cannot boast
Boast
of.
about. Mhm.
Right? You
And
can
we're
come
just
to
sitting here
Grenada
on it like
and
it's no
seriously
big
enjoy
deal.
yourself without and feel safe in doing so.
Mhm.
Right? So we believe that we are poised to be the best carnival that the world have to experience.
That's why we need you.
And well, I take it up the challenge, but we need your support as well. And the media must not go missing.
No, we're
You
always
know,
present.
the promotion of our music, the promotion of things Grenada, and so on, we are absolutely critical. But we believe we can deliver it. You know,
We keep our fingers crossed. Brenda says that Carnival this year is a social good and budget needs to be provided. So we're not looking at making anything really out of it.
no, and generally you'll find that if you study the economics of carnival, the coffers of the SMC or the organizing committee is not where most of the resources go to. We're talking about the airport, the taxi drivers, the vendors, the bar men, the fishermen. In other words, trickle down effect.
Mhm.
So we spinning economic activity that otherwise would not have been there if it was not for carnival. So the economics of carnival is not just a matter of the organizing committee or the SMC um, putting in revenue into their coffers. That must happen as well. If we were to, if we to deliver quality product, we need to spend. So we appreciate that. But the economy of carnival does not start and begin with the organizers of carnival. And it touches, the radio stations, for instance, will do more advertisements. There'll be more advertisement revenue because there are more events, more activities to advertise, right? That's the kind of spin off. More uh, Roscon will sell on Radance Main Road because there are more visitors. The traffic, more gasoline in the gas station will sell because there'll be more vehicles being
More
rented.
rentals.
Exactly. And that is how the trickle down effect of the economy of carnival really benefits the country.
Someone says, Casimir says, we, the creatives, producers, artists, videographers that need lower duties on the port so we can invest in our product as well. So, under your watch, can you look into
But
that
but,
for
but
them?
we must have that conversation in a meaningful way. When you say to the government you must have lower duties, what are you giving me back? Yeah? In other words, one hand can't clap. And I do not know which particular industry this particular contributor is coming from. But I know that
Producer,
there are
producer.
concessions across the board for people involved in production at different levels, and they can request it from government. So that has been a long-standing policy, really, that you can apply for this concession. But I do agree that these persons, if we want the best quality, we have to make it these equipments and so on that the videographers, the people in the social media that they need. They must have the best quality equipment, and we can and they we must support them in having the best duties that's possible. But we must have a policy on it. In other words, if government were to give you 75% concession, 100% concession, when you call upon by the SMC to do a production for us, uh, can you say to us that you'll take out a little thing? So that we have so you get concession this year. You know, normally your market price will be $100, but you'll get. We know you have to be paid
You have to be
because we
paid.
don't want to put you out of business. But at the same time,
Work
you
with
you, you
me.
work with that's the idea. But we must develop. The problem is, Aruna, is that we continue to do these things by give and wishy washy. We must have that conversation out of season and develop these policies and approach government on how we believe it can be done. That's part of the problem. Don't wait until you have equipment to clear and you come by SMC and say, see what you could do for me. No. Let's have the conversation now. Let's develop the policy so that when you are ordering your equipment, you know step one, step two, step three, and you know what you are entitled to even before you apply for you order the equipment. So you know across the board. So all of these are serious policies that needs to be developed, and that's an excellent point that this contributor is making there because we need to look at it from all different angles.
Definitely so. Well, we are so out of time, but you need to come back so we can do a follow up because someone here is saying, and we need to put some class back into Carnival, the March Gras Queen Show, and they put in caps, MCs, etc.
But that person is so spot on, and that is why we talk about class events, so that the person hosting these events, the MCs and so on, they have to be dressed a certain way. They have to present themselves a certain way. They
Knowledgeable
have
as
to
to why you're
they
on the
have to be
stage.
knowledgeable as to what they are saying, so they don't mislead the public. The persons hosting the program in the media house and so on must brief themselves properly before they go in front of the microphone. If we can improve on our delivery right across the board, we believe that we can deliver a quality product. But the caller is absolutely right. All aspects of the we need to take it to another level. And fellas have to work hard on it. Fellas and girls have to work hard on their craft. You see, so if we expect or we demand that the Calypsonians write better songs or the soca artists write better songs, the persons, the masters of ceremony too have to improve on their craft. Don't give us the same joke
The
you give us
same
last
joke
year.
last year, 2 years, it's a running joke. Like it's a
I
running
mean,
joke for every stage
you have to
performance.
rehearse your craft. You have to keep on improving your craft.
It's a job. It's your job.
Yeah.
Final ones. Brian says, my concern is the discipline to follow the procedures in place and the enforcement of the policies. And I think that is the concern of everybody, and me, probably government as well. So we keep fingers crossed that we'll get the nod. Cabinet will say yes to Spice Mass for 2022 in whatever format, and we can continue and start outlining what you guys are going to do, and you'll keep us abreast at what's happening. So I guess when you get the word, you'll come right back here.
Whether we hear yea or
And
nay,
they,
we must say to the nation early. So
so
you have
there's no
that commitment.
expectations and
Yeah.
hot feelings in
Yes.
August.
You have that commitment.
Okay. So we're looking forward to that. All right. So again, thank you so very much. It was an absolute pleasure having you here to start off the week. And like I said, you'll keep us posted soon as you have any positive word or whatever it is. I'm looking forward to sharing that with our audience. So thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
You're
Pleasant day,
welcome.
everyone.
Alrighty. And thanks so much, guys, on the live for there's a lot of chatter going on in there. I have to check it out after. A lot of you were commenting and of course following along the conversation. Thank you so very much for that. Like he said, he's going into a meeting now to continue the discussion. So fingers crossed. We can see something apart from Juve and folks going to the different parishes, St. Patrick or St. David, other aspects of carnival that we love, the Soca Monarch or Fancy Mass. We can see some aspects of that. We will not be able to have it in its, the way we knew it, like, normal times. But of course, we are hoping we can have something close to it before we get to that stage of, carnival like we knew it. But fingers crossed. All right. So from our mouth to the ears of our policymakers and of course our cabinet members, we need a little thing this year. I can, oh God, I'm tired with the virtual. The virtual ain't doing it for me at all. We need a little something. All right. So we'll see how that goes. Thanks, everybody. Catch you again tomorrow, same time for another show. Thank you so much, Escomar Variety Store, Beacon Insurance, and Western Union. We'll be back, same time, same place tomorrow. Have a good one, guys.